Hello, Top Fan Rivalry followers, and welcome to another edition of the Weekly Review. Jackson, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. A little tired after the 4th of July, but ready for some, weekend baseball. There's a lot of good weekend baseball this week.
A lot of good weekend baseball, and I'm excited to talk about it. It's going to be exciting today to see how this all plays itself out. Um, as you know, as you know from the weekly review shows, check out TopFanRivalry.com. Go into the merch store. Join the locker room. Not only are you going to get cool content, but you're going to also get articles. Jackson, there's so many things that are coming up in the locker room these days that just joining the community is going to save you a bundle and make it a lot of exciting stuff for you. So, Jackson, let's get right into it. What do you got for number one?
Number one, All-Star voting just concluded. We don't vote on the pitchers, so I have a question for you, Bill.
Yes,
Who starts the All-Star game for the National League?
probably Ranger Suarez.
Probably Ranger Suarez.
Mhm.
That'd be a good bet. But I have four guys right here. It could be Ranger Suarez. It could be Paul Skeens, who MLB would love to start the All-Star game.
Too soon. Too soon.
I know. I'm just saying. Chris Sale or Zach Wheeler are also really good picks for that. But yeah, it's really interesting because the AL, you kind of look at the list of pitchers and how everyone's been pitching. A lot of the guys that were really good to start the season, like Luis Hill, have kind of fallen off. Scooble's probably the guy in the American League. Uh, Blanco from Houston has a good shout. He's been pretty solid. Ooh, why are you nodding your head? No.
I'm thinking Seth
Oh yeah,
Lugo and drop the mic.
Seth Lugo. Ooh, he's,
Bounce back year, Jackson. Bounce back year.
uh, you know, I know. You know how it works though. It's a popularity contest. You think they're gonna let Seth Lugo start the All-Star game?
He's earned it, hasn't he?
He certainly has, but it's all about, the starter's usually the flashy guy, the one that everyone wants to see. They turn in for the starters. I'll put that in quotation marks because it doesn't really matter. Everyone gets to play. But yeah, I think Lugo definitely deserves it. I think for the National League, it's an interesting discourse, and I think it's an interesting discourse for fans whether you want your pitchers pitching in the All-Star game.
Mhm. That's the other question, really, right? Is do you want your pitchers pitching in the All-Star game? Um, it's again, it's a game that doesn't matter. They don't really tune it up. It to me, to me, the All-Star game for a pitcher is real simple, right? It's their bullpen session, except for they're facing live hitters and a crowd and things like that. I don't mind it. But I mean, are you a guy that minds that if you're looking at the Braves, do you look at that and think,
I think I mind it in the sense that where pitchers, it's like a bullpen, but you have to be careful because if you throw pitches right down the middle, uh, it is the All-Star team, so they're going to smack that ball around, and you're going to have like a 30 pitch inning. And since the manager's going to just give you one inning rather than, no one ever gets pulled mid inning in the All-Star game. I've never seen it.
I have, I have, but it's rare and it's usually not for
Uh,
performance. It's usually because they've got so many guys on the team
yeah,
that they've gotta pull some people, right?
yeah.
So
So I'm a big fan of, if you could avoid it,
okay,
have your pitchers not pitch.
I like that. I like that. But and I also get what you're saying, but hmm. So all right, here's my number one. You got a crazy AL East division, right? Which the Boston Red Stockings have made their way. They've won four in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're now officially 8 games over 500 at recording time. But that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the slide of the Bronx Bombers. 2-8 in their last 10. 2-8 in their last 10. Lost three in a row. They're now 2 games behind Baltimore for the division lead. And they've been on top of the division for the last month,
Yeah,
month and a half.
yeah, they're 5-15 over their last 20, Bill. 5-15.
So what's going on there? Is there bad water? Or what
Uh,
like
I I think it's turned into the Yankees. You know, they looked different this year. The whole lineup was contributing. The all the pitching looked really reliable, and I think it slid into the problems the Yankees teams past. That the pitching has become inconsistent, and the lineup outside of Aaron Judge and Juan Soto has been bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They've been bad. They haven't been good. So I mean, if you look at Judge, he's got 32 home runs, 83 RBIs. You know, Soto's got like 21 home runs, but like who else in that lineup's been contributing?
yeah, and Stanton being on the DL, Anthony
Yeah,
Rizzo being on the DL or IL. I
yeah.
mean,
It's
it's
it's it's complicated things for the Yankees. You know, they're really missing probably Rizzo and Stanton to protect Judge. I mean, all the highlights I see of Judge are mostly just solo home runs. That's when teams with runners on base, you don't bother. But bases are free. What's a solo home run in the grand scheme of, in most games it's not the difference maker. So I just think they've had the same problems the Yankees of old, where the lack of depth is really hurting them. And the injury bug just hits them at that right time.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Um it's weird because they were expected to be so good and they're not as good as everybody anticipated. But it's also not weird because when you look at it, you think, yeah, these guys are all over the place, right?
Yeah.
So what do you got for number two?
Uh, Number two, I'll piggyback on that now that Baltimore has leapfrogged the New York Yankees. Does that make Gunnar Henderson the MVP favorite, Bill? He's got here. Let me read some stats for you. He's got 98 hits, 27 home runs, 60 RBIs, 13 stolen bases, a 986 OPS. Uh, his WAR is slightly ahead of Judge. Judge plays center field, so it's pretty comparable. The boost they get from WAR for shortstop versus center field. He's played one less game than Judge, but he's really kind of driving Baltimore forward, and he's jumped from a pretty good player, one rookie of the year last year, to a superstar. He might hit 50 home runs this year, and if he hits 50 home runs, I'll get your opinion in a second. But I think he can win MVP even if Judge hits 60, and the Orioles win the division.
So you're thinking that okay, you know what? I'll buy that. I'll buy that. And the only reason I'll buy that is because he is having such a good season and he's putting more numbers up than just the long ball. So yeah, I'll buy it. I mean,
I
yeah,
mean, if you look at the terms of value, Gunnar Henderson probably is the glue. So is Aaron Judge that keep their teams together. But I think he really elevates that young team to something special. Whereas Judge is just straight up the best player in the league. And it's not the best player in the league award, and we can debate that all you want. Um, it is to be noted that Judge, I think, is Kurt was the Triple Crown leader before Stephen Kwan qualified for batting average for a whole 2 days. So that's something to keep in mind. If Judge wins the Triple Crown, I'll get back to you on that one. But I think Henderson has a really good shot. 50 home runs from the shortstop position. I think the last time that's been done is A-Rod. Uh, you can quote me if I'm wrong on that for Texas, I believe.
nope, nope, nope. I think you're absolutely right on that. I think you're absolutely right. I think it was A-Rod.
Double check that.
We're fact checking in the middle of the show, folks. In the
Yeah,
middle of the show, we fact check.
he did it at shortstop in 2001 and 2002 for the Texas Rangers.
There, there you
There you go.
go.
There you
There
go.
you go. There you go. All right. So my number two is gonna look and feel a little like what you just said, but my number two is pretty simple. So Bill Adamas said that Aaron Judge or Arson Aaron Judge or Aaron Arson Judge, however you want to say his name, right, would hit um would hit at least 32 home runs by the All-Star break
He's
to
there.
accomplish that task. Okay. And I said that when he started off to a slow start, we were in mid-May and he only had 13. And people looked at me and said, "There's no way that in a month and a half he's going to hit 20." And I'm like, "This kid is a big kid." So the next question though that comes, and this is to your point, is he going to be enough to pull the Yankees across the finish line, or is Boston going to sneak up and steal that possible wild card spot for them? In other words, are the Yankees in trouble?
I'm gonna say no. They just got Garrett Cole back. They're working him back. I don't think the Yankees rotation is going to be this bad for this long. Uh, it would take some serious bad luck for them to just not turn into Major League Baseball players, because most of them have a track record of being at least league average at their worst. Um, and
That
I'm
would be
sure they're getting Rizzo back eventually. Stanton should get back eventually. I'm sure they'll make a move, but I think they're in trouble from the standpoint that they're probably not going to win the division. Because Baltimore's just better. But I think at the back of your mind, the Red Sox only being 5.5 games back maybe worries you a little bit, especially heading into this weekend series, which we'll touch on in a minute. But the Red Sox are coming to town, and this is a chance for them to really kind of gain ground on the Yankees, who are not playing well. So it'll be interesting. I think Boston is a team to watch in the American League. Um, we've talked about them before. If they could put their hitting and their pitching together in the same ball game, it's a very dangerous team. They got Rafael Devers. They have a really good pitching staff. So it'll be interesting moving forward. But I don't think you need to DEFCON 1 or whatever. But if you're the
That's come
Yankees,
five.
yeah, I'd be a little worried that Boston's starting to creep up, considering the gap earlier in the year was very large.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I just I like you say, I don't know that the pitching is going to be that bad for that
It
long, but
it,
you
it would
never
take
know,
you,
right?
you never know with baseball, but it's like the expectation is at some point it's gotta the stats don't lie except for when they do. Um, is my mantra. You can put that on a T-shirt to quote me as the top fan stats guy. But
Yes.
most of the time, the advanced analytics, the stats for guys tell you who they really are at the end of the day. That's why they put it on the back of the baseball card. I just, I don't see Nestor Cortez and Carlos Rondon being just terrible, because that's not who
Who
they are.
does? Who does?
Yeah.
Who does? Right? So, all right. So, what do you got for number three?
I was going to talk a little bit about these weekend series here. Yankees Red Sox is a big one. Uh, the Twins against the Houston Astros. They're hosting the Houston Astros. It's a really big one for the American League wild card. Uh, the Twins are up 4 games in that on the Astros. Uh, let's see. The Phillies head down to Atlanta to play the Braves. It's a big one. The Brewers head to LA to play the Dodgers. I think that's going to be a really, really fun series to watch. I think Milwaukee, you know, has been disrespected by a lot of people. They've used 16 different starting pitchers, Bill, and they have a 6 game lead in the NL Central. I don't know what they do to these guys. They're all studs. I don't know where they find them, but
Me neither. Me neither. I don't know either. But
yeah. And then the last one to probably watch is the Padres host the Diamondbacks, which is another National League wild card. That's a really big one. But there's a lot of good baseball this weekend. I encourage people to watch. Um, and it's really kind of like you said, a lot of teams are kind of limping into this All Star break, and these are the games you need. If you're limping, you're okay with going 500 and maybe losing a game or two. You just can't let it snowball. Do not let it snowball out of control before the All Star break, because you have to come out of the break. Coming out of the break hot is really hard to do, especially if you went in falling flat on your face. So these are the series to watch, and I don't know. You got anything else on that?
okay, so Jackson, my number three is going to be from another show that we did earlier this week. And then I'm going to ask you to give me two names, and then we'll continue this on next week's weekly review.
All right.
And I'm going to list four names. What do these four names have in common? Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Billy Chappell, Squints Palladores, Jakes Taylor, and Roy Hobbs. What do they all have in common?
They're all from baseball movies.
They're all from baseball movies. So this week on the Odd Couple, uh, featuring Mikey the Dodger fan and Big Dave the Astro fan, the "Can I Get a Hug" segment was, who would you put on your fictional Mount Rushmore of baseball characters? And so I put Billy Chappell, Squints Palladores, Jake Taylor, who beat out the bunt, who used his cleats to take off his girlfriend's dress, who argued with somebody in a library that he bet a girl $50 that she had a better body than his girlfriend and he had to defend her honor, and Roy Hobbs. Would you like to know other names that came up in this?
Uh, if Henry Roland Gardner's not on your list, we might need to have some words.
Henry Rosenbagger was
Yeah.
on Dave's list.
All right.
Yes.
I mean,
As
come
was
on a line from the bleachers in Wrigley to home plate. Like, come on.
Dottie Henson was on there. Ricky Vaughn, Hamilton Porter,
Oh,
Crash Davis, Kelly Leak, um, Terrence Mann, and Harry Doyle.
no, Benny the Jet Rodriguez. Wow.
He was mentioned as an honorable mention,
All right.
as was Jimmy the Clap Dugan.
All right.
Right. So your fictional Mount Rushmore, you haven't had time to think about it or internalize it, but tell me who you would put on your fictional Mount Rushmore.
Uh, Ricky Vaughn, uh, Benny the Jet Rodriguez, because he's the greatest of all time. Um, Rolenberger,
Uh-huh.
because come on, he was unhittable in Rookie of the Year. And then with the assistance of the Angels, any of the players from Angels in the outfield, because with the Angels they're unbeatable.
Okay,
Uh, maybe
I
we'll just put the face of the Christopher Lloyd Angel.
I gotta boo you on that one. Boo! Boo!
You sprung
That
it on
was
me.
an
It doesn't.
awful last answer. I mean, you got Crash Davis, you got Billy Chappell, you got all these different.
All
I
right.
mean,
If you
you
want
you
a serious one, I'll put Willie Mays Hayes on there.
Willie Mays. Hey, no, it's too late. You already said your piece. It doesn't work that way. Sorry, coach.
They
You're
already
out of
started.
here.
They
Like
already started carving the Mount
I'm
Rushmore that quick.
I'm kicking you out of the game quicker than what's his name kicked Aaron Boone out for saying nothing. That was brutal, Jackson. That was top fan brutal right there. My word, my word, my word. That's it, folks. Here at Weekly Review. Can you believe Jackson? Come on, come on.
They
I'm gonna
literally can't. They literally can't lose at home with the Angels in the outfield, Bill. They're
I'm
unbeatable.
I'm gonna put you on a text message with the fellas. And boy, you're gonna get lit up for that Angels in the outfield garbage.
Come
I
on.
can't believe that. I cannot believe that.
They
I'm
can't. They can't. They can't lose with them in the outfield.
I mean,
They win
what
every
what
game.
about the kid? What about the kid in Mr. Big League, the one that manages the team, and I mean, you could have used that dude. Come on, Jackson.
I know. I guess honorable mention the Dominican guy from Benchwarmers. Um,
Now you're just getting even worse. Now it's just going downhill. Folks, we got to stop this show before Jackson embarrasses himself any further. I cannot believe what I'm hearing. I cannot believe this.
I think you can. I'm just pulling your chain.
Oh, I don't
As
know,
the as,
Jackson.
as the kid said a long time ago, I'm pulling your chain, dog.
As Bill Perkins one time said, boo, boo. Anyways, Jackson, listen, we don't want people to pay full price for joining our locker room. We don't want them to pay for full price for merchandise, including this black on black Top Fan Rivalry hat. What code do they use?
Use code Jackson, get 10% off. Don't pay full price for my bad takes and my bad jokes.
Awesome.
My
Awesome.
gift to you, code Jackson, all capitals. Yeah, get 10% off.
Code
You get
Jackson.
10%
Code
off in the
Action
shop too.
Jackson.
Get yourself a nice hat. Get your friends a nice hat. I wear hats everywhere. It's probably terrible for my hair, but hey, you look cool. You look great. Sun's out of your eyes. What more could you want?
Why not, right? Why
Why
not,
not?
right? Um, okay, Jackson, I think we're done with this week. I'm terribly disappointed in your answers um for that Mount Rushmore thing, but we're gonna come back to that. I'm gonna let you internalize that, and I'm gonna let you, as they would say, make a change, make a switch up, repent. I don't care what word you want to use, but I'm gonna let you do that for next week. So next week we're gonna bring this topic back up. And if you now Rosenbagger, great choice, right? Benny the Jet, great choice. Ricky Vaughn, great choice. Anybody from Angels in the outfield, well, bad choice. So we're gonna let you, overcome that next week. So Jackson, let's do it again next week.
All
Top
right.
Fan Rivalry followers and fans of the weekly review show. Here's what I want you to do. I want you first to mash the button to subscribe. Okay. Secondly, I want you to go over um I'm sorry, to Twitter, X, whatever you call it, and follow us there. If you're not following us on YouTube, I mean on Instagram, also follow us there. Go check out topfanrivalry.com. If you join the locker room, it's $25 a year. You get all kinds of fun baseball content. Not only that, but you get exclusive deals on meetups, you get exclusive deals and discounts on different things. We're putting up the collectibles edition. Jackson, we've got a Don Drysdale baseball card, a Roberto Clemente card. We've got a Sandy Koufax card that are going up, plus other collectibles. If you're in the locker room, you already saved 10% on stuff like that. Plus, you can use a discount code Jackson. Jackson, let's do it again next week, my friend.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Bye bye.